guys, I am back with another video, and this one is one that I am really excited about because it is going to be the start of a new series that I'm doing here on my channel. This series is going to be basically color theory and how it applies to makeup. So it's going to be a series of 5 videos including blush, lipstick, foundation, eyeshadow, and concealer, which is today's video. So a little bit of background on my relationship with color theory. So I come from an art school background. I did go to fashion school when I was younger, and there is where I learned color theory for the first time. I didn't learn it as it applies to makeup, and it varies a little bit from basic color theory, but we'll get into that probably in like the foundation video of this series. It's not super applicable right now. For now, for most of the makeup topics, general basic color theory can be applied. As far as I'm concerned, the everyday average makeup consumer does not need to know every detail of color theory. I really didn't want this to be super overwhelming, and I didn't want you to feel like, oh, this is really scientific, this is really like crazy, why do I have to know all of this for my makeup? And I'm with you. You really don't need to, and knowing color theory myself, I can kind of just weed out the things that are really important and applicable to your makeup application. Color theory starts with the color wheel, and I'm sure you've seen these before. It's just a wheel of colors that looks like a rainbow, basically, but it's just a really good tool to use to start learning your colors and kind of visualize the way that they relate to each other. So basically, on the color wheel, you're going to find 3 basic broad categories of colors. There are other ones, like I said, but it's really not relevant. I'm not going to get into that for you in this video. So the 3 types of colors are, 1, the primary colors. This is going to be red, blue, and yellow. They have technical names. It doesn't matter, but I'm aware that they do, so the second type of color is going to be your secondary colors. A secondary color is a color that you can get by mixing 2 primary colors. So if you mix red and blue, you get purple. That's a secondary color. The third type of color is tertiary colors. These are super easy to remember, as you can tell. Tertiary is the 3rd tier of color types, and it's what you get when you mix a secondary with a primary color. Basically, all of these videos, I'm just going to go into what color theory you need to know for the specific topic of that video. So as this is a concealer video, I'm going to talk about complementary colors. Complementary colors are very, very easy to determine. They are right across from each other on the color wheel, so directly across. So if you go to red, for example, directly across from red is green. Green is going to be the complementary color to red. So generally, the best thing to keep in mind is that opposite colors on the color wheel cancel each other out or neutralize each other. These are very important to remember because in concealing and color correcting, if you've got blemishes or under eye circles, stuff like that, redness, whatever it is, you're going to need to take the color of the blemish or the problem area and find the opposite color in a corrector. So if you have a super red blemish on your face like I do, and you want to camouflage that and hide it before you put your foundation on, you're going to want to take a green corrector or concealer. Another area where you can use green if you want to is if you get redness right around here on your nose, if you've got like broken capillaries or just really dark redness, it's very targeted. Go ahead and put that green on. To me, the most common applications of color theory in actual concealer are blemishes, like I just talked about, and under eye concealing and correcting, which I talked about in my previous video. For your under eyes, generally the colors under there are going to be a variation of blue, green, sometimes purple, and so you want to take the opposite of whatever color you have under your eyes and take a corrector that is that color to neutralize what you have under your eyes in that dark area. So for example, my skin is cool toned as can be, so my under eye circles are also cool toned. They're very bluish purple, but mostly blue. So when I go to correct my under eyes, if I used a pink corrector, they would look gray because that cool blue with a cool pink on top is just going to compound, and it's not going to cancel each other out whatsoever. So for my bluish under eye circles, I actually use a peach corrector because orange is right across from blue on the color wheel, and peach is going to be that orangish color. Now, if I had really deep skin and I had that blue under there, I would use legit orange. Like I said in my last video, you can use an orange lipstick for certain skin tones and it works perfectly. Now when you think about going to Sephora, for example, and you think about products that have actual color in them, like green concealers, purple CC creams, or purple primers, those are all for color correction, but today I'm just talking about concealers, and that is basically to target very specific spots and very specific issues. So if you are someone who has a lot of redness on your face as a whole or in larger areas, I would not necessarily recommend putting green concealer all over your face. It's just unnecessary, and it's a lot of thick, unnecessary product that you really just don't need to have all over your face. And I will talk about that in my color theory for foundation video that's going to be a little bit later. Now, anytime you are using a color corrector on your face, you're going to want to do it before your foundation. So make sure your face is completely moisturized and ready to go and primed. But put your color correcting product on before your foundation. So you want to correct, and then you want to put your foundation over the top. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about regarding concealer is your skin toned concealer. So for example, once you've corrected under your eyes, then you go in with a concealer, and this is going to be a couple shades lighter than your foundation generally. So you want that to go on top of the corrector, and in this case it's optional if you want that to go on top of your foundation or before your foundation. They're really not going to cross over very much, so it doesn't really matter. And the only other part where I would say this is super applicable is with spot concealing for blemishes. So if you've taken green and corrected a really red spot, you want to put your foundation over it, and if there's still a little bit of just kind of darkness there showing through or shadow cast by that blemish, you want to take your skin tone concealer, which should match your foundation and should match your skin, and go over the top of your foundation with that. Now, I wanted to do a demonstration for you guys, and specifically this one incorporates the use of the Makeup Forever Flash palettes, and I love those flash palettes so much, and I've had a lot of requests from you guys asking to show different ways to use those palettes. So I'm going to show you another one today that I'm really excited about because it works awesome and it gives you control over what shade your corrector is. Basically, you're going to need a palette or your hand or any surface to mix your colors on. You can even take like a little sample jar from Sephora and mix a large amount of this to just keep on hand if you want to continue to use it in the future and not have to mix it every single time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little palette here, I'm going to take a dab of my concealer, which is the color of my skin tone, and it matches my foundation. This is what I use for concealing blemishes after I've already put my foundation on. But in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of this green from the Makeup Forever Flash palette, and I'm going to mix that in with my concealer. So mix it up until it is the desired darkness or greenness that you are looking for, and use that for your blemishes, and you are done. You have your very own custom mixed correcting concealer. One more thing I wanted to mention, you guys, if you want to know a little bit more in depth how I correct under eye circles and hide under eye bags, go ahead and check out my previous video, and I will link that down below. Also, I did a color theory for foundation video quite a while ago. It's pretty old. I'm going to redo it like I said, but I'll link that down below too because it does have a lot of helpful information. And that is it, you guys. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!